I mentioned it to Shelly that it would be great if maybe that's what we could do if you would like to think about that. The first thing she said was, no, I don't have to think about it. The answer is yes. Which means that that light is your guide. Because you make yourself vulnerable when you're asked to share your story. And so I've invited Shelly to only share what she's comfortable in sharing. But today is a good opportunity for all of you folks at Mount Zion to get to know your Shelly a little bit better as well. And so I'm going to start with the first question, which is, tell us about your experience, like your experience with spirituality. Many of us have been church hurt, judged, shunned, made to feel like they're not worthy. Can you share us a bit about your spiritual experience in the past, pre-Mount Zion?
That's a lot of time.
Probably like 15. What do we get? 15? We got 15.
Okay, so I was born, no. I knew, I'm just gonna start, I knew from a very young age that I was different than the other girls that I went to school with, that I hung around with, my family, my cousins. I knew that they didn't have crushes on girls. I mean, I found out later some did, and I was raised in a Baptist home. I mostly lived with my mom, my grandma, my grandpa who later got sick, and my mom. My mom was a single parent all through my years. And so I remember one night when I was 16, I had a best friend. His name was Jeffy. He lived till he was my four-legged best friend. He lived till he was about 16, and then it was time for him to go. But I remember sitting in the garage, and because my grandma would read scripture, and I felt guilt and shame for who I was. And I remember sitting there thinking about ending my life. And I'm gonna cry, but Jeffy talked me out of it. And that didn't happen. Then let's fast forward a little bit to, the drinking age. I still didn't drink, but that one night that I was able to have a drink, my alcoholism started then. I know it now. I just drank and drank and drank, and it took all those feelings of guilt and shame away for a time. And my grandma would read the scripture about a man does not lay with a man in the way that a woman, those scriptures. I tried to go to the Pentecostal church my mom was going to. I will say though, my mom never, ever judged me. My mom is an amazing woman. She's probably going to see this, so hey, Mom. So my grandma would read those scriptures. My aunt would say homosexuals are sick. So, I'd think that, keep drinking. I'd go years where I didn't drink, but I'd come back to it. I'd try the Pentecostal church. I was always very honest, so I told the pastor that I'm gay. And he baptized me, but he wouldn't let me sing at that church. So that hurt. But, I just kept drinking and living my life and wondering why God didn't love me. And, wishing he would love me and I could go to heaven and I wasn't this bad, sinful person that, I was raised to believe that gays are. And I got married to a woman still feeling not good about who I was. Taking vows in front of God. And I met Dee, 5 years ago. And a couple years ago, she was just pushing and pushing for me to come to this church. But I didn't want it. I didn't want to come to church. I didn't want that again. I didn't want to be hurt. I didn't want to hate myself. I wanted to drink so that I wouldn't remember, And I got married. I was with Shanna for 10 years, married for 3. We separated. My last year of my alcoholism was really bad. I was drinking every day. And alcoholism, you get to a point you don't even want the booze, but you need to have it. You just don't want it, but you have to have it. So the last year was really bad in my drinking, and I was very hopeless and very suicidal. And you know what? Shanna turned it all around by separating with me and saying, you know, Shell, I think you need AA. So I started going to AA. I quit drinking. I'll be a year sober on Dee's birthday, July 24th. That's me. That's me. It's all me. And I came to Mount Zion and AA, and I started to feel that God loved me. And I'm a proud lesbian. I'm a proud AA member, and I am a proud member of this church. And I love all you guys for being so supportive of me. I love you.
You might have encapsulated all these questions, but the second one was what brought you to Mount Zion, and what has it meant to you? And the third question was, tell us about how you may have experienced grace in your life and how you extend grace outwardly in your life. So, out in your world, how you extend this grace to others and what it means to you.
Okay, well, I'll answer the second one better. Dee initially got me to come here, but I mean, it's all in God's timing, right? And I was ready to say enough with the drinking, and I was ready to try church, and you said what it means to me? I don't even think I can say in words what it means to be me, to matter to you guys, to matter to a church, to be able to be up here singing and lead you in worship. I can't in words express what that means to me. And grace, I have a hard time with that one. Not that I haven't been given many graces. I mean, those last 3 years of my drinking, the last year especially, I did some awful things that this Shelly would not do. Grace and mercy, oh my goodness. But by the grace of God, I could have been one of those people that you see on the street asking for money if God didn't grab a hold of me through my ex-wife and through my good friends and stop me and help me and guide me. And I gotta be real, I'm very honest, I could have killed a lot of people in that last year of my drinking, including myself, including my kids that I love, like my niece and nephew, and we had a foster child, my wife, ex-wife, anybody, and he spared me that, and he didn't need to, but he did. So I try, I'm still human, I try to think that way. You know, when I see those people on the street, I always say, those are my people. Those are my people. I don't look at them the way I used to look at them. Like, thank God he saved me. So I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to reach out to people that are hurting. When people are mean to me, I know that they have a story. There's a reason. So I try to give grace. Is that right? Does that make sense? I try to give grace to people and not get upset. AA has taught me that too. I don't know what else to say about that. Is that good? Okay.
Thank you, Shelly. I think for now, that was a very courageous testimony that you made. And thank you so much for that. I'm going to hug you. Is that okay?
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Through Shelly sharing, it's an invitation for us all to be vulnerable, to share your story. Are we all carrying hurts inside of us that we're afraid afraid to let other people see that other side, that person inside that's hurting, have experienced the judgment, the shunning, the casting eyes on, and just that whole sense of, you're not like me, so therefore, it's fear, and it's sometimes lack of education, or just this sense of, oh, that's different. But is it really different? Whether you love a man or a woman, whether your skin is a different color, or you come from a different part of the world, aren't we all created by the same Creator? We are. And I love how you spoke of your people. Your people. You know, sometimes we're afraid to confess that we're uncomfortable in those situations. I would confess I've been uncomfortable in those situations. I didn't understand. Or the people that are walking on the medians. I've had a hard time with that too. Because I think, oh, there's services in the city to support you. But sometimes there are people that don't want to go there. They prefer to do what they're doing. That's okay. There's a young lady, actually Paul's daughter, she says something that I think is totally profound. And the first time I heard it, I thought, that's it right there. You do you, and I'll do me. And let's not judge each other. Let's find opportunity to grow with each other. There's power in numbers. There's power in the grace and the mercy. There's power in God. And Shelly, you have brought light to Mount Zion. And in about half an hour, she's going to bring more light to Trinity. And to every single person she encounters. So thank you again for that. Let us pray.